Oh,
Oh,
we're fine. We got this.
The bar at the bottom of my screen is very unhappy.
Oh, yes.
oh, watch Wormy! Watch Wormy!
Last week, I had a great opportunity to try out Dune Awakening, the upcoming survival MMO being developed by Funcom. Offering a large-scale persistent world, Dune Awakening claims to have politics, social hubs bustling with other players, and a cinematic storyline that takes you throughout the world of Arrakis. But the question on everybody's mind is Dune Awakening going to be one of those games that keeps people's attention long-term, or is this another flash in the pan? And if I can be honest, I knew this game was coming out, but I wasn't really looking at the title. I was waiting for it to release so we could jump in and just kind of go in blind. The only thing that I really knew about this game is the fact that these developers for the past 3 weeks have been putting out videos consistently talking about all of the different features of the game, from combat to music and audio design, to the fact that they're really just talking about both their monetization models and their post-launch plans and how they're monetizing the game. And that was one of the first videos that I watched from them. I think it came out about a month ago. It's a premium release, no monthly subscription, no early access, optional DLC that's going to come out after launch, a ton of free content updates and like major patches with new content, all post-launch and all for free. Very, very impressive right off rip. Now, in my playtest, there were a lot of great things that I saw with the game. There's a few things that I would love to see changed before launch. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. But if you want a TLDR, there's not a lot of ugly here. Now, this video is sponsored by Funcom, but after playing in this content creator press event, I pre-ordered the game for myself, and I'm also going to be giving away a copy at launch on my Twitch channel. I am going to be streaming the game because I had a fucking blast. And from what I'm reading in this briefing here, they're also going to be having a beta weekend starting on May 9th, for which I'm apparently going to get a key as well as some keys to give away on this channel as well. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you guys know as soon as I get more info. So if you guys want to check out the game for yourself, there is a link in the description and the top pinned comment. And if you end up liking the video and liking my impressions, leave a like on it and subscribe for more content just like this. My name is Big Fry, and let's talk Dune Awakening. Dune Awakening opens up to a pretty robust character creation system, which at the time of recording this video, you guys can actually download and try their character creator on Steam, and then introduces you to the sci-fi universe of Dune. And it drops you in and forces you to survive the harsh desert landscapes by hiding in shade so you don't become sun-scorched, building bases to protect yourself from sandstorms, crafting items like still suits to filter water for your character, and you can extract blood from your enemies, filter it at your base, and turn it into water like a vampire version of Jesus Christ. The game starts you off with essentially nothing, kind of guiding you through the tutorial, introducing you to the world and some of the early game mechanics, and then kind of leaves you to your own devices to meet up with your squad and start playing the game the way that you like. And in waiting to meet up with my squad, I had to build a small base to kind of protect me from the elements. I quickly learned that bases don't protect you from giant sandworms. Oh shit, the worm just destroyed my house.
Oh, you didn't have a shield generator yet?
No.
It also gives you a recommendation not to build on open sand.
Ah, I'm dead! Oh, fuck! So, yeah, don't build your house in open desert. During the character creation, the game lets you pick from a bunch of different archetypes that you can kind of start building your character for, which, side note, peak physical specimen right here. I started with the trooper archetype, which lets me kind of put skills in more like weaponry and, you know, using different grenades and stuff like that. But what's really cool is you can go and visit other trainers around the world and unlock different skill trees by doing missions for them, which then lets you unlock their skill trees and allows you to cross-spec into other skills, which lets you really hone in and design the character the way that you want to play. So during my playtime, I started out as a trooper that really wanted to focus on weaponry, and then I found that vehicles and travel in this game is one of the most important things for us, like going from point A to point B and doing missions. So I started to spec into basically working on vehicles and unlocking different repair skills and stuff like that. And it's super cool. because you can just do it and it's very seamless. I also really wanted to build a sand bike and run away from a giant sandworm, so you know, mission accomplished. But I was able to bring in a couple of people to play with me during this test. I brought my girlfriend Fuzzy, I brought my best friend Adam, and we all kind of picked up different roles. Like Adam was working on building the base while we were kind of going out and scavenging for resources. And then when I started to spec into like the more vehicle focused talent trees, I started to build a garage, and then we have this setup where we're all building bikes. It's super cool. And like the thought of like what happens when this game comes out and you're able to build larger factions on bigger servers, I think that's going to be pretty cool. What I was hoping for going into this was a very in-depth MMO survival game and not a survival MMO. And what I mean by that is I want skills. I want different abilities. I want an in-depth crafting menu. I want to have research trees. I want to level my character. I want an MMO experience with a survival game around it. And that's exactly what this game is. This is not DayZ. This is not Rust. The game actually reminds me a lot of playing New World, which if you guys know me, I love MMOs. I actually really enjoyed New World for all of those things, the crafting, the gathering, the skills, the leveling. What really ended up turning me off of New World was the repetitive quest design, the repetitive enemies. Like it just became monotonous fighting the same things over and over. And truth be told, I don't think that I spent enough time in this early access look to really make that call just yet. But from what I played, from both a creative standpoint, like the decisions that they made to make an in-depth game like this, and also like a technical standpoint, for the most part, everything worked. The menus, even though they are overwhelming with a bunch of stuff being given to you right at the beginning for you to craft, gather, and do all these things, it all worked. It all came together and it functions very, very well. This was a closed content creator and press test, so every server we were on was on low pop because obviously there just weren't a lot of people playing. And while this might change at launch when everybody floods in there was no lag, there was no hiccups. It was actually really refreshing to just play a game that functioned and we didn't have to worry about lag and ping and all this shit. Granted, when the game comes out, that might be a completely different story. So I have to emphasize, this was an early access look at a build that isn't going to reflect the final version, that isn't going to play most likely like the final version. There's a lot of things that are going to change between now and launch, including the fact that the game has been delayed by 3 weeks. The game was originally slated to come out in late May, but now it's actually coming out June 10th. So you're looking at about a 3-week delay just to clean things up that they most likely found during the play tests that I was involved in, which I think is a perfect time to bring up some of the issues that I had with the game itself. Now, from a technical standpoint, we didn't run into many bugs. There was one that I think is going to be pretty character specific. The character I chose and the ability that I have is a grapple hook. So you shoot somewhere and like straight out of Just Cause, it sucks you to it and throws you past where you grabbed. And it's a good way to traverse some of these higher rock terrains. But sometimes you just end up getting caught in areas that they probably didn't plan for players to fall into, but you can. And then you have to either be able to like finesse your way out by grapple hooking up.
Are you climbing down? I'm scared. I might die.
Oh, I'm stuck.
I see you.
Fuck. Man, like a geyser, I'm back. My biggest complaint with the game is the fact that I can't see player names above their heads, especially players in my party. Especially when we're doing missions together where there's multiple combats happening and somebody's getting attacked over here. Oh God, there's a bunch of things that just spawned in here and I have zero idea where they are in some of these areas. Just give me the option. I brought it up in their Discord and some people were like, yeah, but that really just breaks immersion. And I'm looking around the screen, I'm just like, this is an MMO HUD if I've ever seen one, and it's missing, in my opinion, one of the biggest staples of MMOs, and that's being able to see where your teammates are. In order to tell who's standing in front of me, there's 2 players in front of me, I have to look down at the bottom left. Okay, so Timothée Chalamet is the one with the diamond inside of the circle, and then I gotta look up at the compass. Okay, which one's left? Okay, so Timothee's on the left and Bertha is on the right. Just put their names above their heads. One thing I did like was the fact that loot, when you walk into a room, it's all client side. So if I open up a chest, everybody can open the chest and grab their own loot, which I think is really cool. The downside to that is sometimes with the quest design, you have to grab these bracelets, which give you access to certain areas. If you're walking through what I'm going to call a dungeon, in order to get through to the next area, it has like a blue shield on the door. Okay, we need to find the blue wristband. If somebody locates the wristband and maybe doesn't tell you or whatever, and there's no objective markers or anything like that, you have to just hope that everybody picks up the same wristband. There were multiple times where 2 people will get through a door. The last one's like, oh, I didn't see that. Hold on, where is it? And it kind of gets monotonous, especially when you can't see where your teammates are going, where they're walking, where they're looting. It's a little frustrating. For a game that emphasizes group play, I feel like they're missing some of the biggest quality of life features for like a co-op group play scenario. But I will say, for those being like the big issues that we ran into in our 10 hours of playing, I'm actually pretty happy with that. Like, those are things that I think could be easily fixed if more people get their hands on the beta and see those same kind of quirks. You know, maybe the developers will actually, you know, take that into account and make those changes. At the very least, give us an option to toggle player names. And when it comes to quest-specific, like path unlocking items, I think if one player in your group picks it up, it should just give it to everybody so that you don't run into those confusing, like, oh, where did you go to loot that one? And, you know, we can just kind of bypass that stuff. It just kind of streamlines that experience a little bit. And if I had to give like another suggestion to fix this HUD, we're tracking our quests on the left. You have your main quest, which is the purple one. And then you have like a side quest. This one's called Wrecking Crew, and we're tracking that down below. And we can't track more than that. Like, we have all this empty space on the side that I would prefer, like, make this text a little smaller, push it into the corner more, and then let us track multiple quests at once. So while we're out, we can actually just see what we have at a moment's notice instead of having to go through the journal. Again, another small gripe that I feel could be fixed with a simple patch. But outside of those issues, like, we had fun traveling and having to utilize shade, and it's cool because the sun actually moves and moves the shade around. So if you happen to be in your menus and you think you're in shade, well, yeah, there's a day-night cycle and it actually matters. So you could be in your menus and you come back and you might be sun-scorched because you weren't paying attention, which I think is actually really cool. The missions that they sent us on, at least in the early game, were varied and different. On top of the fact that the environment itself is gorgeous and the map is huge. Like, we didn't even touch the surface of the actual whole world map. And I'm actually looking forward to like being able to build out, you know, flying ornithopters and other vehicles. And I think if you can have like a bigger guild and a bigger faction, I think that could just lead to some pretty incredible community moments. But as always, when it comes to these early access previews, we'll have to wait and see what happens at launch. But I've already pre-ordered. I'm going to be in there on June 10th. I'm going to be playing the game, streaming it, and hopefully it goes well, because we did have a lot of fun during this test. But with every test that we ever play, we don't want to invest a ton of time into it because we know our progress is just going to get wiped. We don't want to burn out for when the game actually launches. So I'm just kind of anxiously waiting for the day. And with that, guys, I want to know your thoughts. Are you excited for Dune Awakening? Is this game even on your radar? What do you think based on everything I've talked about in this video? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're down there, leave a like on the video, subscribe for more content just like this. And a big shout out to Funcom for sponsoring today's video and giving me early access to try the game out and see what it's like before I actually, you know, make a purchase myself. If you guys want to check out the game for yourself, there is a link in the top pinned comment as well as the description. Check it out, use my link, and hopefully I see you in there on June 10th. My name is Big Fry, and I'll see you on the next one.